Hey Prince Magnum, when are you going to get on that budget build of Project Lena? Stick around, that's exactly what we're going to do. Hello again, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Do-It-Yourself Budget Hot Rodding. If you're just tuning into the Prince Magnum channel, as if this is an old TV show, you may not know what Project Lena is. Project Lena is a 2003 Pontiac Grand Am GT, a car very typical of the early 2000s. Front wheel drive, has the 3400 V6 and very peppy, not a big fan of the front wheel drive, not a big fan of a lot of the different things that are going on with her, but Princess Faye likes her, and Princess Faye deserves a car to take to car shows and have a lot of fun with. Let's get talking about what this is all about. Many of you out there have come to me and said, I would love to have a cool custom car. And for many of you out there, cool custom cars seem very unobtainable. Most of the classic and antique cars that we all love so much, most of them have been crushed thanks to the Cash for Clunkers whole thing that went on a few years back. So most of our classics are gone. And time has also withered away at our classics and our antiques. So if you're looking for that really awesome 1960s Pontiac, chances are you might not get that lucky. What do we have? What we have available today in the used car market, not pre-owned. Don't even mention that on my channel. But anyhow, this is what we have today. And Project Lena is very typical of what you'll find roaming around right here in St. Francis County, and possibly everywhere else that you might be, depending on where you are in the country. And this can apply to Chevy Cavaliers, and I'm starting to see just other various cars show up. Shoot, I've even seen Ford Tempos. Quite possibly one of the worst cars ever made in American history. Even worse than the Ford Pinto. But anyhow, all of that being said, many of you out there have said, Prince Magnum, can I have a custom car on the tightest budget imaginable? I've got bills, I've got kids, I want to do car shows too. Well, this is your guide, okay? But before we dive into that, we need to talk about a brief tragedy that happened to poor Project Lena. Going out to, since all of you, if you've not kept up with the channel, where I work, at the Farmington 1 McDonald's location, the building was so old we just could not prop it up anymore. We had to tear it down. You're welcome to take a look at that video, the goodbye to Farmington 1 McDonald's. If you've not watched that, the rest of us will wait on you. You're back. All right, cool. All right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, basically I've been relocated to the Fredericktown McDonald's. And on my trip out there for my first day at work, of all the things, a deer runs out in front of while I'm driving Project Lena. I locked up the brakes, cut the wheel hard, and there was nothing I could really do. Basically, I still hit the deer. Thankfully, it just caught it on the driver's side front fender. And where it caught it, the damage was pretty minimal. So this is what we had to do. I'm going to cut away, we're going to talk a little bit, show you some footage, and then come back, and then we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this budget build. So I'll see you all on the other side of this.
Okay folks, this next little part is going to break your heart if you really like looking at all the work that we've been trying to do to Project Lena. This is what it looked like right after we hit that deer. Now, I know a lot of you are going, man, that looks rough. I don't know if you can fix that. You're going to have to replace the fender. I don't think we're going to have to. Basically, by the process of removing a few bolts, a few fixtures, and things like that, I managed to squeeze my hand in behind all of that, and with a rubber mallet, and pretty much start pounding it out. And if you watch closely, you can watch the transformation coming back to as close to perfect as you can get. Take a look for yourself. This was what a little bit of work was what I was able to get after a little bit of work. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty doggone close. Now, at this point, a lot of people would go ahead and give up. Say, it's as close as you can get. Well, I worked on it a little bit longer, and I managed to get it to this point right here. That's pretty doggone close to perfect as you're going to get without removing the whole fender and putting a lot of effort into it. So, don't let that little dent stop you on your project. I'll see you all on the other side.
Welcome back. Um, Now I know some of you out there saying, "Why didn't you take it to one of these, where they don't use a whole lot of body work to fix it and all that other stuff?" Well, you have to understand where it was located. That whole, I think they call it like dentless repair. That would not work. And I know body panels are very flimsy, but where it was located, the best thing to do would have been to take the whole fender off and slightly tap it out with a body hammer and feather it out with a block of wood with some sort of cloth to keep from scuffing up the paint, and I mean really work on it and do the best possible job. I was not able to do that due to time constraints. As a matter of fact, the day that it happened, brought the car home, we're all bummed out. I'm like, I can fix this. So I just did what I could to fix it the best I could, and it's still she's still, it just kind of looks like someone bumped into it. If anything, if anyone says, hey, I hit a deer right there, and I managed to get it to that point, considering how bad the location was of where the dent was. So all that considered, the only thing we got to replace is that headlight, but we're wanting to switch over to LEDs anyways down the road. We're just going to have to do it a lot sooner than we anticipated. Big deal, all right? But for the meat and potatoes of this, let's talk about this budget build. Between the paint and everything else, we still came in under budget. I said $75. If you count all the paint and the stuff that it took to prep, we came in, if you were to twist my arm, I mean, I know I figured it up and I forget the figures and I just set everything aside. I think it would have, for anybody else, with a car in customizable condition, it would probably run you about $50 to $65. So we came in under budget if you play it smart. Okay, now if you do anything more extravagant than this, the prices will vary. But again, this is just kind of a general guide. All right, so let's walk you through the steps. And when we get on the other side of this, we're going to have a little bit more fun, talk about a few more things, and then we're going to end it as usual. All right, so I'll see you all on the other side of this.
Okay, folks, let's take a look at how this goes. All right, basically, we started off, we still got lots of daylight to work with. We spent a lot of time prepping Project Lena. We had saved up a ton of newspaper. Already, you see the jewel paw prints are gone, and Princess Faye had created actual stencils for this project. I'm going to really emphasize on a project like this. We used, again, a lot of newspaper that we saved up from our various jobs, and even the cardboard I got from work, and just put a lot of time and effort in making sure that we cut down on as much overspray as possible. Was this overkill? Possibly, but was it worth it? Yes. We managed to cut down on overspray, and anybody who's ever worked with spray paint knows full well overspray gets everywhere. That's why we made sure the car was a good distance away from other people's vehicles, and we did this much work to make sure that we cut down on as much overspray as possible. How much prep time went into this? I kid you not, it took 6 hours total for just these small areas. If we were doing a bigger job, it would take a lot of time. Talk to anybody who works in a paint shop, and they're going to tell you about 97% of a paint job is actual prep work. I knew this long before this project, doing other projects in the past, and doing working at Rawlings in their custom paint shop for football helmets. So as we cut away, you're going to see well into the evening we finally got to spray, which was very difficult. You can tell by the time code. We still had a little bit of overspray. We still got a couple spots to touch up. But in the end, I feel it was very much worth it. It would have been better if we would have been able to completely follow the instructions for the peelable primer that we used, so we didn't impede the originality of the vehicle. It would have been a lot better if we had been able to do it. But it still came out pretty doggone good. Princess Faye, having her background in the in the beauty academy, the payoff was well worth it. This is what Project Lena looked like the next day. Not half bad, if I do say so myself. Those paw prints really jump off of there, and the black trim now in the Quasar blue. I mean, it looks just like custom pinstriping. And this was done on a very tight budget, along with those wonderful body lines. And even though, there's a little bit of body damage to that front fender, I mean, it all came out okay. I mean, Project Lena is ready for car shows, even with that mangled headlight. I mean, she's still ready to go. And that was what this build was all about, was getting her ready for car shows. Now, we're going to have to replace a few things here and there, but for the most part, we got our custom car on the tightest budget imaginable. Folks, if this is what you're after, if you're wanting a show car on today's standards, you too can have just that if you're willing to put forth just a little bit of effort. I'll see you all in just a moment.
Welcome back. All right. So far, so good. Project Lena now has a custom paint job that will not impede, her originality. Because of the peelable primer, we can just take that paint off. And, I mean, there's a few spots that we're going to have to touch up, obviously. But for the most part, she's done. Okay? We came in under budget, not half bad. Okay? Real quick, couple big shout outs. I want to thank the people from Farmington AutoZone, Deloge AutoZone, and of course Potosi AutoZone, who sold us the paint and the supplies to kind of get her ready for this build. Some of the masking tape that we also got from Deloge, Dollar Tree. Newspaper we picked up from both of our jobs, along with the cardboard that we used for the stencils. This just proves again, I mean, if you're really hell-bent on building a custom car on a very, very tight budget, you can do it. Oh, how forgetful of me. The engine paint, the Pontiac Blue, I was not able to get through any AutoZone. I had to get that from Farmington O'Reilly's. How forgetful of me. Sorry about that, guys. I almost forgot you, but I didn't forget you, so I'm okay. But, again, I mean, this just proves my point. Everything we had on hand already, and even if we bought it, it still wouldn't have been that much more than what we spent already. I mean, if you shop around and you're really dead set on having your own custom car that you can take to car shows, you can do it. Now, again, these prices will vary depending on the damage of the vehicle and all this other stuff, but just understand, if you want it bad enough, you're going to do it. Now, I already hear some of you haters out there. What's up with the paw prints, Prince Magnum? What's up with the paw prints? Well, Princess Faye cut those stencils herself, and she has a thing for cats. You can tell because we have a couple of cats that occasionally show up on videos. Actually, both Taver and Galaxy are just, a few feet away from me right now, sleeping very comfortably. They're very cute. we have a thing for cats in this here at HQ. That being said, when you talk about Pontiac, you always have to go back to the muscle car era of the 1960s. And in the muscle car era of the 1960s, Pontiac references to the GTO as being a tiger. In a few of the old commercials, a tiger would jump out of somewhere on the car. Maybe they'd pop the hood, open the door, lift the trunk, and they would say the Pontiac GTO, the car that has the tiger in the tank, or something to that effect. In another commercial, they talk about they constantly make references to the GTO as being a tiger. Well, because of this, and at the time that Project Lena was built, if I remember correctly, the GTO had long been gone, but they of course brought it back later. And we know a lot about that story. If you don't, look it up. I'm not going to sit here for hours on end. Great car, the return of the GTO. I was very happy to see the GTO back. I just wish, I'm sorry, I'm nostalgic. But making reference to those old commercials, that's really where the paw prints come in, and we love cats in this household again. So it just kind of worked out. So real quick, for all of you haters out there, can Project Lena still have a little bit of old school car commercial with what we've done and that sort of thing? Well, through the process of editing, some really crappy camera work, my hands were shaking a lot, and my blood sugar was low. Work with me. And then you know, doing some editing and things like that, I managed to put together what a commercial would be like today if Pontiac was still around and still wanted to carry on the old muscle car heritage and Project Lena. You know what? I'll just shut up and show you this.
The Tiger scores again. All nimble, all agile, all wide track. Don't let the bucket seats and sumptuous interior fool you. It's all nimble, all tiger, all wide track. See it in captivity at your Pontiac dealer. Everything's new in Tiger Country.
And welcome back. Thank you all so much for sticking around. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. It's a lot of fun. Again, if you yourself are interested in building your own custom car for car shows, this will help you along the way. All you need to do is find a used car of whatever style you can afford and that you'll like. Fix anything that you possibly can, within reason. There's salvage yards, blah, 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 blah. You get the picture. And just go from there. Let your imagination do the talking. Pretty much from here, since the custom work is done for now, as far as the general overview of what we want, pretty much from here we're going to have some fun with it. Who knows what we'll do next with Project Lena? Well, Project Spirit is being seen by our friends at the Bonterre Auto Parts full service shop. We'll talk about that in another video. That brings us to the usual spot. If you're not subscribed to the Prince Magnum channel, this is definitely a great time to do it. There's a lot of stuff happening here on the channel. I've been busy as heck trying to piece it all together, and I think any subscriber, whether new, old, or somewhere in the middle, will be glad they subscribed. If you got any wonderful comments, anything, good positive feedback, I'm always open to it. Be sure to leave it in the comments box below. Any hate will probably get deleted and made fun of nowadays. Yeah, there's a video coming up about that. If you're really savvy and you hit that subscribe button, be sure to hit the bell icon. And I can't talk today. Be sure to hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time we upload a brand new video. Also, as usual, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is. It might be working on a show car for your wonderful wife. And speaking of those wonderful wives out there, if you have a sweetheart, do something special for her today. You know, they deserve it. They put up with us. And as always, for all of you out there, even my haters, if nobody has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.
Excuse me while I whip this out.